So we'll turn our attention to Nigeria's political landscape, which appears to be shifting. We do know several governors have joined the APC, while parties like the ADC and other opposition groups are preparing their challenge. Now, of course, the recent visit of the governor of Kano State fueled speculation about a possible move to the ruling party as well, and that's ahead of the 2027 general elections, even though some think that's a foregone conclusion. So this morning, we're joined by Dr. Umar, Ardo, convener, League of Democrats, Northern Democrats, and he's also the promoter of the registration of the All Democratic Alliance. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, it's we know we do see different signs and different things going on, but let's start with your impression. At the moment, we see a lot of those movements going on from some political parties to the APC, while the ADC themselves are also saying, look, those movements notwithstanding, they are still going to put up a very stiff challenge. I assume that you maintain that same belief, don't you?
Yeah, I do to some extent.
Oh.
I've been part of the coalition, the National Opposition Coalition. I've been part of it, but we differed on approach. I insisted that the best way to confront the regime and work towards the 2027 election was to register a brand new political party that was without any blemish, ideologically motivated. Other group, maintains that they needed to just pick an existing political party and fuse into it because they are convinced that the National Electoral Commission, INEC, would not be allowed to register new political parties. Apparently, they seem to be right, because we champion for the registration of political parties. I'm sure you know, since the Yakubu days, about 172 political parties applied, then they were sieved, 14 were called upon, then 8 made it to the final stage where INEC went and inspected our offices, inspected our documentation, saw physical presence of executives across the country, and which completed, the requirements of the law. Then we were also recommended by the committees established by INEC, but when the commission sat, surprisingly, INEC refused to register any political association as a political party. So some of these political parties, including the ADA, All Democratic Alliance, which we are promoting, have gone to court to see that, to get the court, right, compel INEC to do so.
What were your concerns? Why you thought you should pick a new political party?
Because going to join an existing political party is fraught with a lot of problems. You can see what is going on in the ADC as it is now. There are about 27 court cases at the various states, and then at the national, at the center. And then there is a faction, there is the, Nasuru Balas faction, here in Guzape, and there is the David Marks faction here, though recognized, by INEC. But litigations are going on, and we don't know how these litigations will end up. So this became the major concern that I had, that I said, look, we better register a new political party. So now, but with regards to your question as to the movement, from other political parties to the APC, yes, we have so many governors, so many legislators, and so many critical stakeholders in the polity move, from other opposition political parties, mainly into the APC. That does not in any way indicate that there is a national consensus as to the preference on APC. Rather, it is a reflection of democratic decay. We are operating in a system that is lawless, absolutely lawless.
What do you mean lawless? Because it moved from one party to the other?
Yes, the law
Isn't what ADC members do?
The law has, the Constitution has stipulated clearly to the movement from one political party to the other, especially among the legislators. Section 101, subsection 1G, and section for the state assemblies, and section 68, subsection 1G of the National Assembly stipulated clearly that if a legislator moves from one political party to another, a political party that filled him into the National Assembly or State Assembly, as the case may be, moved to another political party, he should put down his seat. That the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Assembly or House of Representatives shall declare that seat vacant. But because...
Yeah, but you didn't put the proviso.
The proviso was that if there is no a faction within the political party, and the Supreme Court in Justice, led by Justice Muhammad Dottijo, interpreted that. He said that this faction must take through the entire gamut of the political party. It will not just be a faction at the world or at the local government or at the state or at the zone. It has to be up to the national. At the time a lot of these people moved out, there was no faction. When you remember the legislators moved out from Kebbi, legislators moved out from Delta, legislators moved out from Zamfara and other states, which the president accepted them, and the president said that more will be coming. There was no faction in the PDP. There was no faction in the Labour or any other political party.
But can you say the same now?
No,
for those who have moved.
Now there are factions. Yes, but what about those that happened before? So we are operating in a lawless society. And if you are operating in a lawless society, then under what parameters are you going for election? Just now, while I was sitting outside, I saw you people brought out the news of the award of national GCON, to Mr. Gilbert Changori. Now, the Constitution is very clear. The National Council of State must sit and advise the president on this. Did the National Council of State sit and advise the president? I can't remember. Maybe you know. But if the National Council of State has not sat and advised the president of it, then this action of the president, like that one of President Buhari on Babagana Kingibe, on Abiola, and all these things, they are illegal. Absolutely illegal. So we cannot pick and choose which law, which provision of the Constitution we should obey and which one not to obey. This is our problem.
But there are two things. First, they tell you some of these issues you raised, it only suits the parties when persons move from one party to another party. The party receiving them will always be happy, of course.
Certainly.
If they had come to the ADC, ADC will embrace them with open arms. In fact, there's this impression that in the months ahead, you will find even some legislators move to ADC.
Yeah, but that does not make it constitutional. That does not make it lawful. That is a problem.
So if ADC is supposed to be seen to be forthright, should they say, no, we will not accept you coming?
No, it is not for the ADC. It is for the Speaker. It is for the Senate President. But you see, this is not even the issue. Why this thing happened and the supervene is because the opposition is weak and timid and docile. If the opposition were to be strong, the opposition would have been in front of the National Assembly with placards, mobilizing Nigerians, and saying that we are not moving away from this gate of the National Assembly until we get the Senate President and the Speaker declare those seats vacant.
Which groups do you consider to be opposition now?
All groups that are out of government and are politically...
Which parties do you recognize that can be considerably called, these are opposition in the real sense of the word?
Well, ADC is an opposition, Labour is an opposition, all other political parties, PDP is an opposition, is part of its issues, all of them are opposition. Even people like us who have gone to for the registration of new political parties and have not been registered and are pursuing it in the court of law, we are opposition.
And they're all weak.
They're all weak. All weak, you know.
What has weakened them?
What has weakened them is the docility, you know, of not acting when they ought to act. And they have not been acting, you know, on critical occasions. Now, the difference between the current opposition and then the APC opposition during the PDP days was that the APC opposition was active and strong. So they now said that President Goodluck Jonathan was a weak president. Jonathan was never a weak president. It was the opposition that was a strong opposition. Now they ascribe to President Tinubu that he is a strong president. He is a master strategist. Tinubu is not a strong president. Tinubu is nowhere near master strategy. It is the opposition that is weak.
Do you think that there has been a deliberate plot of some sort to weaken the opposition?
No, you see, over time, those that have been leading the opposition themselves seem to lose the momentum, you know, in their fight for the opposition, because most of them are in the opposition not necessarily to bring fundamental ideological change, but mainly to grab power. And people across the country are getting tired of people who only go into opposition to grasp power. That is their weakness.
Well, this is where we are now. We are seeing, I'm a little befuddled though, because as you rightly said, you have admitted that there's division in many of the political parties, and that's one of the reasons why you frowned against joining, joining wholesale any political party that is already in existence, because you do fear that this litigations could hamper, its ability to be able to do what it ought to do. However, there are those who now look at what is currently on the ground and say, okay, so maybe we can make that argument for those who are, seeking office, because you could lose your seat. You can win, and then at the end of the day, you lose your seat because your party is not recognized. But what do we have to say for those who are perhaps in their second term, those who are, especially those who are in their second term, those who aspire to no office? Why do you think that they're finding the APC all of a sudden attractive?
Well, it really is not getting APC, finding APC really attractive. I don't know what has gone or what is going on behind the curtains. But if you look at it, it will seem that those who are tilting towards the APC are either casual, either bludgeoned, either blackmailed, or intimidated, or being being attracted by law of getting back to office, or if they are doing their second term, at least protecting their backyard after they leave office. You will have to agree with me that in many circumstances, getting your successor is more important to you than even you are coming for second term. Why? Because you have taken 8 years and created all the havocs and committed all the atrocities, and that you don't want to be a Malami. You don't want to be, after office, you get into prison, you've been taken by the SSS, and so on and so forth. So you would want to protect that. And people see the establishment, the regime in power that has the authority to touch the button to say, go pick this one, do this one, don't do this one, become their protector.
I was going to say something, that perhaps the only way not to be a Malami is not to do the things that he has been alleged to have done.
Yes.
Yes, but clearly.
So many been doing so. When you work in a system that is lawless, what do you expect? So many atrocities go on.
Wait.
The major problem of our country...
Does that mean that the ADC themselves, because they have this crop of politicians too, who have been in government in that kind of position, as governors, who who are also in the party in different positions. So does that mean that they cannot claim to be righteous as well?
Well, we are not talking about being righteous here.
Well, that's the impression that the parties want to give us.
Is very far off.
Political righteousness is very far off from them.
Very, very far off from most politicians, especially those who held public office, either at the executive level or at the legislative level, or even, as advisors who have a lot of influence, on the administration.
I'm just a little curious because you've talked about all manner of, offers being made or blackmail or, it could be a mix of things. Have those offers not been made to you? Have they been made to you?
Myself?
Yes.
Why should anybody talk to me?
Why shouldn't they talk to you?
No. I'm not in the category for you to be talked to. You see, you have to understand the psychology
Are you saying you have
of the
nothing to have? You have nothing to offer?
No, not about having nothing to offer. Because I have made my position in this opposition very clear from day one. I don't compromise on certain things. Never. If I wanted to get compromised, I was in government before. I was in the office of the vice president. I worked as a special assistant to the president. I was in the villa. I saw it all for 8 years. But when I came out of office, I only had 38,000 in my account, while my colleagues or those that below me had a whole lot.
Why did Buhari government go for you?
I created the Buhari regime. It is me that created APC. It is me that created the fourth attempt of Buhari's candidacy, was my concept. The formation of APC and Buhari's fourth contest was my concept. So 100% my concept.
Now you're looking at, I'm very surprised that you're still quite enthusiastic about the fact that things can still change, in spite of the mess, because you talked about the mess that is created in 8 years. I mean, I'm sure you've heard all manner of narratives, even from the former president's own wife, as to how things derailed. And now you're also talking about what is happening with AGF Malami, and you said all manner of things have transpired. How is it that you are still enthusiastic? How is it that you are still optimistic that things can be different if done differently, if we know that there are no saints where it is we're actually looking?
Well, I think you should be surprised that I have made a claim that the formation of APC and Buhari's fourth contest was my concept, that I drove it, yet I was not part of the regime. I was not, from the we parted with Buhari at the airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport, on the 27th of March 2015, which was a Friday. On the 28th was the general election for presidential election for 2015. Buhari took a chartered flight to Katsina. I took a chartered flight to Yola. In the morning, I spoke with him. Today is election day. Hopefully you win. I believe you will win. And then, we went to the polls, and Buhari was declared president-elect. From the day Buhari was declared president-elect till he died, he never called me, he never saw me, he just blocked me and completely put me off. Why? Because apparently I was working with somebody whom I had an idea would change things, but I was mistaken. So those who came in, all of them, Abubakar Malami, Tunde, all of the Buhari group, all of them, they worked with me, all of them. So, but they knew, I believe, that is what I'm made to believe later, that I'm not the kind of person that will go in and tolerate these kind of things. So maybe that explains why they put me out.
Yeah, but my thinking now is, do you think that you have found like minds?
Yeah, we have. In the ADA, we have like minds. So many. And that was why, in spite of the fact that we were highly recommended, when INEC came to our office, our national secretariat, to inspect on the 8th of December, INEC saw 99% of the executives across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. The constitutional requirement is 24 states and the FCT. We had 36 states and the FCT. INEC saw 100% our documentation. INEC saw physically the faces of those people that we uploaded in INEC's portal. And INEC also saw our office is as good as any office in the country, as good as that of PDP, as good as that of APC, if not even better. So they recommended us highly, the committee. Then the National Commission, when it sat, it decided not to register ADA. And because they could not register any other association without registering ADA, which will be apparent, the injustice and so would have been apparent, they decided not to register any political party at all. So that brought us, to the issue. One, we have the political parties, being delegitimized, so to speak. Either they have factions, either they are, they have litigations. So then there is also, the issue of members of these parties moving into APC and making APC as if it is the only, which apparently seems to be the only legitimate political party on the ground. So all these things have closed the political space of Nigeria.
You haven't quite answered my question in terms of what keeps you optimistic.
What gave me the optimism is that there is a saying, I will quote Buhari, he said that Jiki Magai is a Hausa proverb, that when the going gets tough, things naturally change. Nigerians have been taken to a stage now where on their own, they will say enough is enough. All they need is a vanguard. And we want to play that role of a vanguard. That's what gives us the motivation and the hope that things will change.
Do you think the opposition will ever be strong enough to challenge the APC, perhaps for the presidency?
As far as I am concerned, you see, this politics, 24 hours, Margaret Thatcher said, it's a long time in politics.
Yeah, we know.
It can prop up. I believe very strongly. And I made an interview a few days or so ago where I said that APC is most likely going to lose the election.
Which election? The national presidential election?
Yes. And I even challenge Nigerians that, I will put in a brand new Prado if APC returns, and somebody to put in a brand new Prado. Maybe they can come and put it here in Channel, if APC wins, whosoever wins should come and take two new Prados.
Well, think they should put it somewhere else. They shouldn't put it here yet. Don't want trouble. But what gives you that impression that they would lose?
Because, as I said at the beginning of this, it does not mean, because everybody moves into APC, that there is a consensus or APC is loved. APC isn't. Look, the statistics, 63.6% of the votes that brought President Tinubu to power was from the North. And in the North is the Muslim North that voted him, 63.6%.
How do we say that for sure?
It is for sure, because more than 90% of Northern Christian voted Labour. More than 90%. I was on the field. I know that.
Well, that remains arguable.
Say, okay, let me put it. Remove the religious aspect. 63.6% of those votes that brought Tinubu to power came from Northern Nigeria, the 19 states of Northern Nigeria. That is not disputable. And these 19 states of Northern Nigeria are highly unlikely to revote him again. So where will he go and get the 63.6%?
Is that not going to be a big political miscalculation if you're going to rely on the data of that last election for this forthcoming election? No, because the dynamics have changed.
It's changed for the worse for the regime. Why? Because in 2023, he was not in office. A lot of things were attributed to him, that he could do this, he could do that, and so on. Now that he is in office, a lot of things have gone back. The exchanges have gone back. Inflation has gone back. The insecurity has increased. all these things have increased.
Yeah, but in Buhari's tenure, for the second term, the indices were worse too. But he won the second term.
Now, you have a point. You have a point there, but that you see, it still goes back to the regional politics. In spite of the fact that during Buhari's time, the indices changed and they were bad with him, but those in his group, in his region, still went for him. Now it is different.
But now, we don't even know for sure that the middle belts, which area will they go? So the dynamics are different.
The middle belt had voted, Labour in 2023.
But now we don't have a Labour candidate as of yet, except
now we don't have
who we know has declared. Now we don't even know for sure.
Now we don't have candidate any political party yet.
Except, I mean, the president is going to get a ticket of the APC. That
is an assumption.
So you think
it's a fair assumption? I agree. It's a fair assumption.
Okay, but for the ADC, we don't know who's going to. In fact, how do you see the ADC conducting themselves to secure? Because there will always be perhaps disagreements here and there in terms of whoever emerges with the presidential ticket. Do you see them still pulling together and some people not saying, look, I think I should just go my own way?
Well, the ADC, as it is currently constituted, as I understand it, if it goes for primaries 100 times, I think we'll win 100 times. Absolutely no doubt about that. So how, Obi and his supporters will react is what will determine,
so why
the election.
Why do you think they want to be in the party?
Why do they want
Peter Obi in the party?
Who?
In ADC.
Who?
The ADC bigwigs, a lot of them have been wooing him.
Because Peter Obi controls more than 6.something million votes.
So
everybody wants
to come in and vie for the vice presidential slot.
I don't know, but to come in and make the party strong so that the party will win the election. That is why they want him there. I'm not saying that Peter Obi cannot be the candidate of the party. He can only be the candidate of the party if Atiku steps down.
So which party do you belong now?
Me? I told you I'm pushing for the registration of
but he has not been registered.
Yeah, I'm in court fighting for it. I'm not in APC, I'm not in PDP, and I'm not in ADC.
But you're sympathetic to...
I'm not sympathetic to any of them. I'm sympathetic only to the ADA.
So if your party is not registered before the elections,
yes,
you wouldn't be bringing your own structure to support a particular political party?
I would.
You would?
Yes.
Have you determined that party yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yes, because I am confident that we will be registered.
And it would not be too late for you to do anything at that time?
No, it won't.
Is that party likely to be the ruling party?
Well, from the calculation I did, I think we will do a lot. One thing I can tell you, it will change the political dynamics of the country.
That's if you're registered.
That's if we are registered.
Or if you eventually swing your support.
If the court determines that ADA, is deemed to have been registered, because we were deemed to have been registered since 9th of December.
So what is this that was circulating at the time? I think it was last year about the AFCC's case on this 485 million naira for future property against Dr. Umar Ardo. Was that right?
Oh yeah, it was. Future, it was all politics. I was sitting when I saw EFCC letter to me saying that that I needed to come and explain to them how I got certain properties. I went and explained to them. They said they are not convinced. Said, okay, let's go to court. Unfortunately, around that time, my daughter died. And in order to protect my family from, because my wife was traumatic. In order to protect, my family, I said, look, in order to get this thing sorted out, you said you are not convinced, okay, take it, let's forget this one. They were too happy to do so.
But they say you purchased them.
Never.
They say you purchased them with cash. You didn't go through the
No, not at all. I purchased everything through the bank. Everything.
So, but if they didn't have a case, why would you voluntarily give up that? That's a lot.
Because I told you.
485 million, that's a lot.
Because I told you, I wanted to protect my family. I didn't want, when your daughter died, you don't know what that means. When your daughter dies within a couple of days, and then they say that they are going to arraign you on an issue that you know is not true. Now, those who have created this, where are they now? They said what I did was 100% legitimate. Go and how I wish I would have gone through, this matter, but it is a case that is closed.
All right, Dr. Umar Ardo, convener, League of Northern Democrats, and promoter of all, not just Northern, all Democratic Alliance. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Chabale.